It's day 7 of our 30-day celebration of the rainbow. The covenant that God made with Noah and every creature on the earth, the sign of it was the rainbow. So let's go back to the genealogy and go through that again. Adam was created, and then Seth is the next generation, and Enos is the next generation, and then Canaan, and then Mahalalel, Jared, Enoch, Methuselah, Lamech, and then Noah. So those are the generations. It's 10 generations in these folks. So when Noah is born, Lamech takes Noah to the oldest that's still alive. Now, Adam has passed away and Seth has passed away. And so Enos is the oldest. So they would take their babies to the oldest and they'd be blessed by the oldest person in the family. So Lamech takes Noah to Enos and says something that is not written in any other of the genealogy list. It's only written about Noah. So Lamech says, when Lamech was 182 years old, a son was born. He named him Noah, saying, "This one shall bring us relief and comfort from our work and the grievous toil of our hands, due to the ground being cursed by the Lord." And what Lamech is saying there is, I believe this child will be the Messiah, because they had that Messiah promise in the garden, and everybody's been waiting for it. So Lamech makes this proclamation over Noah, not knowing that Noah is going to save the lineage for the Messiah to come, but not in the way that Lamech thinks. So this is where we are. Noah has been born, and the world is the evil. The evil. You should hear. Let me just read that chapter 6, the first part of chapter 6. And if you've read this, this should kind of sound familiar to you. When men began to multiply on the face of the land, and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of men were fair, and they took wives of all they desired and chose. Then the Lord said, "My spirit shall not forever dwell and strive with man, for he also is flesh, but his days shall yet be 120 years." God says this here in this chapter. And I want to tell you about when you read the genealogy, people start their lifespan. Noah's lived 950 years. Shem, which was his son, lived 600 years. Arphaxad, which is the next in line, he lives 488 years. The next one is 433, then it's 464, and then the next one's 239, 237, 230, 148. When we get to Nahor, which is Abram's grandfather, we see the first person that gets down into the hundreds. So this many generations pass before we see the word of the Lord actually coming into fruition. Now, God has spoken this, and it's taken that much time for the life expectancy of man to drop. Now, Terah, which was Abram's father, he lived 205 years. So it bounces back out of the hundreds. And then Abram was 175 years. Isaac was 180. Jacob was 147. You should see my scribblings here. And Jacob was 147 and Joseph was 110. So it is slowly becoming less and less. So you're not seeing so many generations, like 7, 8 generations that know each other. I mean, if you can imagine you being a child and having a great, 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 great grandfather that you can go visit whenever they have the family things. You can imagine what kind of impact that would have had on your life to be able to see so many of your ancestors. Well, every time that these folks would get together, they would always say, I mean, you can hear them saying it. Oh, Papa Adam, tell us the garden story. Tell us the garden story. So the story in the garden and what happened, Adam passed down to every generation. And when it started out, they had, Adam and Eve had sons and daughters after Cain and Abel and after Seth. So there are all these kids and they're getting together and they're hearing this story about the Messiah is coming, the Messiah is coming. He's coming through your great grandmother, or, it's going to come down through Eve. And they hear the story and they pass this down. And so time passes. Adam lived 930 years. And I'm sure that as time passed and they got together and all the little kids are saying, Papa Adam, tell us the garden story, tell us the garden story. There are parents that are going, oh, just stop. It's been 250 years. God's forgotten about us. There's no Messiah coming. Papa Adam, you need to stop telling this story. And so this group starts falling away. So you have all these people that are believing for the Messiah coming. And as the decades pass, they start falling away. And then you have these angels. Now, the Bible says it's the sons of God. I believe that before creation, when God threw Satan out of heaven, because he said he was going to set his kingdom up above God's, that Satan took a third of the angels with him. And so Satan has ended up on the earth because Adam gave him the dominion. He gave it to Satan. So I believe it was those angels that were mating with the female women, children of Adam. These women are the children of Adam. And grandchildren and great-grandchildren. So they created giants in the land. And the constant, let me read this part. This is so, this just made me so sad. There were giants on the earth in those days and also afterward, when the sons of God lived with the daughters of men, and they bore children to them. These were the mighty men who were of old, men of renown. These angels were in heaven. They are known before. The Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination and every intention of all human thinking was only evil continually. I mean, think about that. Every one was evil continually. Well, this is what happened. I think this is what happened as time passed and the family began to turn away from Adam's story and not believe it anymore. I believe that they fell into that position of always thinking evil, always having evil intentions. I believe that's part of what happened. And then when they had offspring from these angels, it's really evil. The other thing you need to remember is Satan is looking for the Messiah harder than they are looking for the Messiah. And he's thinking, anytime he sees somebody that looks close to being the one, they're killed off. And there's so much violence going on in the earth that it's not a hard thing to do. In fact, there was a word, and I'm trying to, I don't see it now. But the word for violence means, everything. It was just so awful. And I wanted to tell it to you, but I'm not seeing it now. The earth was depraved and putrid in God's sight, and the land was filled with violence. This word violence means desecration, infringement, outrage, assault, and lust for power. Sound familiar? We know what it's like to live in those days. The word violence means desecration, infringement, outrage, assault, and lust for power. And God looked upon the world and saw how degenerate, debased, and vicious it was, for all humanity had corrupted their way upon the earth and lost their true direction. I mean, isn't that the saddest thing? They lost their direction. Why? Because they weren't focused on their destiny. They weren't focused on their future. They weren't focused on the fact that they needed to keep their faith going for the Messiah that's coming. They got away from that. They said that it's not going to happen. Let's live today because we might die tomorrow. They lost their true direction. That is just so sad to me. This was a situation in the earth when Noah was walking in the earth with his family. And God said to Noah, I intend to make an end of all flesh, for through men the land is filled with violence, and behold, I will destroy them and the land. Wow. He went to Noah, his man. Noah walked with God. Noah had a constant fellowship, relationship with God. It was constant. So he comes to Noah and he tells Noah what he's going to do. He didn't make an announcement in the sky to all the people. He's just telling Noah. Make yourself an ark of gopher or cypress wood. Make it in rooms, stalls, pens, coops, nests, cages, and compartments, and cover it inside and outside with pitch, which is also bitumen. I think that's the word, bitumen. I'm not a scientist, so those of you who know about pitch, you all will probably know about that. And no, pitch is not the chord that you start in when you start singing. No. This is that stuff to keep the water out. So it's got to be on the outside and the inside. And I will tell you this now for just a second. If you go to Williamstown, Kentucky, they have a place that's called the Ark Encounter. And the Ark is there. Now, it's not made to float, so if we get into a flood situation, don't run there. But it is the exact size. It's the actual size of what the dimensions that God gave Noah. And it's unbelievable. But inside, you will see these the coops, the little rooms. Oh, wait. Here we go. The stalls, the pens, the coops, the nests, the cages, the compartments. You'll see all of that inside that ark. It is an encounter. You have to go there if you've never gone there. Put that on your bucket list. And they even show how they fed the animals, how they watered the animals, and the storage of the food. I mean, it is incredible. Just incredible. So anyway, God gives Noah the instructions. And it takes 100 years to build this boat. So for 100 years, people are coming to Noah because, the word's out. You know how we are. The word's out. And everybody's talking about it. Look what this guy's doing. Flood? What flood? What are you talking about? The earth's in an ecosystem. The water came up from the dew. That's how the earth was watered, not with rain. And a flood? They're not believing it. They are, oh my gosh, they are just tormenting him for 100 years. And the whole time, Noah is a gracious, kind, giving man. And he tells these people, this is what God told me. I'm just telling you what God told me. I'm not trying to be a big shot. I'm not trying to be a know-it-all. I'm just telling you what God said. He is going to flood the earth and destroy all the living creatures on it. This includes all the animals. He's going to destroy all the creatures. Now, does that mean that there was some sexual sins going on with animals? Could be. I mean, there's all kind of violence going on in the earth, stuff that we can't even fathom that was going on. And these people laughed at him. They made fun of him. It is amazing to me that there wasn't one woman somewhere, one woman that was saying to her husband, honey, you know, Noah really does believe this. What if this really happens? Don't you think we ought to build a boat? Don't even talk to me like that. Martha, don't even talk to me like that. You want everybody to think I'm crazy too? We're not going to have a flood. This isn't going to happen. I don't even know that God exists anymore. I think he's forgotten all about us and this Messiah stuff. And so they don't build the boat. And guess what happens? Well, you know, if you know the flood story, you know what happens. So Noah starts building the ark. It's going to take 500 years. It's going to take 100 years. He's 500 years old. So the flood's going to come in the year 600. So we'll pick up there tomorrow, and we'll talk about what happened, more that happened, before we get to the beautiful covenant that God made with Noah. See you tomorrow. Enjoy celebrating the rainbow and eat rainbow cake and rainbow ice cream, and there could be rainbow cookies. Kroger's fascinating with their bakery department. See you tomorrow.